What's up guys, welcome back to Nomadic Cooling. Another great video for you today. I'm Elliot, that's TJ behind the camera, and today we're finally doing what you've all been asking for, the install video for the brand new Sprinter Auto Start with high idle, featuring the drone and the relay for low voltage. So let's jump into that and let me show you the tools that we're gonna need for today. So the tools necessary for today: a flathead screwdriver, a drill or a screwdriver of some kind. We need a T25 driver, a T15 driver, and a Philips head driver. We need some bolt cutters or some kind of cutter to allow you to cut the zip ties that we're going to use to hold everything in place later. So let's start with our T25 driver, and we're going to start by first removing these two T25 screws right here. So if you lose things as easy as I do, let's try to stay organized today. We're going to take our screws and put them somewhere where we can find them so we can reinstall them later. Very important. So really simple, once those screws have been removed, we're going to peel back this plate right here and set it off to the side. Don't mind all the chip crumbs. Jonathan likes to eat a lot of chips on his long road trips, but we just clean it away for him and don't tell anybody. So next, located on the hood release handle is another T25 screw that we're going to remove. Really simple. Might help if you have a longer attachment on this one, as it is a little harder to get to. And we'll take that out and put that in our pan. Next, we're gonna go ahead and peel back the weather trim, just like that. Next, we're gonna go ahead and focus on these two black caps. We have one towards the front and one towards the back. What you're gonna do is just grab and slide underneath and grab that small part of the black cap and pull that out. Same thing back here. Pull out that small one and the rest will follow. So in order to get to the next T25 screw, we need to take this floor mat in front of the driver's seat completely off, and this just peels right up and slides right out. Boom! I want you guys to go ahead and take notice of all the dirt and crumbs from food that we have under here. This clearly shows that Jonathan is enjoying his vehicle. Thank you, Mercedes Sprinters. Grab your T25 again. We're gonna go ahead and slide in. We have one T25 screw now that we've removed that we can access right here. Drill that out and put it in your pan. So next we'll go ahead and unclip this little part right here, kind of pop that open and take that off so we can access. Now that we've removed that one, we can now access another one of those black caps that's holding in this whole piece right here. Again, grab the smaller inner circle first, pull that out, and the rest of it will come right out, just like that. So now we're gonna remove this whole plate. We wanna be mindful of this clip that kind of holds it in place right here. So what we're gonna do is peel back as we lift this out, just like that. And the rest of this piece, be mindful of that hood release handle. Make sure you slide it through, and the rest of this comes off, exposing everything we need to get to. So before we can remove this piece and get it completely out of the way, we first need to remove the connection port for the OBD. So we're gonna use a T15, it's a little bit smaller, to go ahead and take those out. Just like that. So on the back side are 4 small clips. If we squeeze those in and push, it'll allow us to push the OBD connection right through the hole, which then allows us to reorient it to slide it back through to free up this whole plastic piece. So next we're gonna grab the unit that we've purchased, the Sprinter Auto Start with high idle. We're gonna focus on these black 32-pin connectors that will connect to the vehicle's PCM, or the powertrain control module. At the top and the bottom of the PCM mount are some black clips. If we pull those back, it will allow us to fully pull out the PCM or powertrain control module. Now that the PCM is out, we're going to focus on this black 32 pin connector. In order to remove this, we have to push down on the little black notch that's on top, which will allow us to slide the gray bar down to release this connection. So we're going to push on it, slide this down, and as you slide it down, the connector slides right out. Now that this is free, we're going to use on the auto start that we've purchased the corresponding 32 pin black connector to then plug in what we just removed from the PCM module. And this just slides right in. We'll click down and then slide that gray bar up. Now that we've connected what we just removed to our corresponding unit, we're going to then take the other black one that looks identical to the one that we first removed and plug that in to the spot where we removed the first one. Push it in, slide that gray bar up, and now we can see we have a connection from our unit to the PCM through that. Now that the PCM is connected, we're going to focus on our EIS module, or electronic ignition switch module. And we're going to focus on this blue connection that's up here at the very top. And again, we're going to indent so that we can slide down the black handle, which will then release the blue connector. Next, we're going to take the blue connector and connect it to the T-harness, which is on the auto start, and we're going to plug those two in. And again, slide that black handle up to make sure the connection is secure. Then we're going to take the free-floating blue connector that's left on the T-harness, it's the only connection left, and we're going to plug that in to exactly where we removed that first blue connection. So we'll slide it up here. Make sure you've got it lined up. Once you line it up, click it in, and again, slide back that black handle to ensure that the connection is secure. And you can now see that we have power from these blinking lights on the auto start system. So just to recap what we just did, we went from the auto start T-harness, we went from the black 32 pin connector into the connector which leads to the PCM module. And then the same thing on the EIS module, we took the blue connectors, connected them, and then connected back into the EIS module. And that's it for those connections. So we're going to remount the PCM module by simply sliding it back up there and ensuring that those two black connections stay flat and hold it in place. So now we're going to focus on the auto start key box that was included in your kit. It looks like this. It has a yellow and a white wire and just a plain black box. And we're going to begin by removing the 4 screws on the back of the box to expose the inside. You can see I've got great accuracy with a drill. Once the key box for the auto start is open, inside should be a black bracket, just like this. It's small, so don't lose it. I tend to lose stuff and Jonathan yells at me and I don't like it. So I've learned to keep them in a safe place. So we'll put this to the side with all our nuts and bolts. And then right here is a little circuit board that acts as a fake battery once it's given power for your OEM key fob. So that's what we're gonna grab next. Grab your secondary OEM key fob that was provided with your view. Once we have our key fob, we're gonna first press the silver button on the back and take out the silver key. Set that to the side. Then we're gonna use this silver button again, press it down, and slide that black back right off. Maybe you have an easier time than me. Gotta have 4 hands to do this. Boom, just like that. And what we're trying to get to on the side of your OEM key fob is where your battery is located. There's a little black notch. If you have nails, I don't, because I'm always chewing them because I'm afraid Jonathan's gonna yell at me. You slide in your fingers and pull out the battery that's included with your OEM key fob. So now that that slot is empty where the battery once was, we're going to put our battery simulator, and you can see on there it says bottom of key. So we're going to ensure that that is facing this, the bottom of the key, so that the silver part is facing this, the top of the key. Really simple. We're just going to take it like this, slide it right in, the other side where it belongs, just like that. So now that metal connection acts as the battery. Now that the battery simulator is in, we're going to flip the key over, make sure it's right side up inside of the box. And we're going to grab that black bracket and we're going to slide that over to ensure that it's over the unlock button. What this does is when we put on the black cap, this will then ensure that the black bar is pressing down firmly on the unlock button. You want to make sure it's clicking and unlocking that button. So now we'll take that back plate, throw it on there. Make sure when you press down you can hear that click of the key. It wants to sound like that. That way you know that when we screw it in, it's going to be pressing down on the unlock button on the key fob. So now that we know that when we press it down and screw it in, it'll be clicking on the unlock button, we're going to screw in those 4 screws that we removed previously. Grab your drill in your steady hands over here, and we're going to drill these back in, screw them back in, like that. Make sure you have a firm grip on it so it doesn't whip around like that. Never want that to happen. Safety first. Don't drill down too tight, or you could risk breaking the plastic. In fact, it's probably best to just use hand tools on this whole thing. But Jonathan likes to go fast, and so we appease the big man. Just like that. Now it's all sealed up, and we have a key fob in there that will get power once we plug it in. Let's do that next. So now we're going to take from the key box for the auto start the white 2-pin connector, and we're going to connect it onto the smart key starter on the T-harness, and we're looking for the slot that says key box. Should be a 2-pin white connector located right there. Again, says key box. We're going to take that and we're going to plug it right into that slot. Make sure it clicks, pull on it a little bit to make sure that it's a secure connection. Now it's time to test before we go any further. Now that the key box is installed, it's time to test. So make sure that all the doors on the vehicle are closed. Now the moment you've all been waiting for, we've made sure all the doors are closed. It's time to test the work that we've just done. To do that, we're going to take our second key fob and we're going to press lock, unlock, lock. The vehicle should flash a few times, and if we did this correctly, it should kick on right about now. Woo! Woo! Yes! After we celebrated and screamed a little bit because we're so excited that it's working, it's time to turn off the vehicle. Again, we're going to use the same 3 key presses. Lock, unlock, lock. And the vehicle will shut down just like that. Mamma mia, that's a beautiful car! Now it's time to test the engine takeover, so we're going to turn it back on with the auto start. Lock, unlock, lock. It'll flash a few times. Kick back on just like it did before. Come on, baby! Now we're going to enter the vehicle by unlocking it. Enter the vehicle. And we're going to press the brake and the engine start button. So press the brake. Engine start, vehicle should shut down and then turn right back on. You're going to want to do this before driving away in the vehicle anytime you use the auto start. Now that we've tested that the engine takeover works, before you shut down the vehicle, go ahead and roll down the driver's side window and ensure that it's all the way down. Then you can shut off your vehicle like you normally would. Then we're going to close the door and and we're going to restart the engine using the auto start. Same 3 buttons, lock, unlock, lock. Look for the flashes, listen for the sound of that engine starting just like this. Then we're going to ensure the vehicle's locked. Press the lock button. And to test the alarm, we're going to reach inside the vehicle and pull open the door. This should shut off the engine, making sure no one can steal your vehicle, and also sound the alarm. Plug your ears if you're sensitive to sound. Just like this. Car stops, alarm goes off, we all suffer. To turn it off, unlock. Just like that, baby! Now that we've tested and ensured that everything works, this next part is only for those of you that want to be able to turn on the auto start of your vehicle when it receives a low voltage relay from your battery management system or something else. And today I'm going to show you how to do that quickly using the BMV 712 offered by Victron. So on the T-harness is the SKS PCM module, and coming out the back of that is a black cable that then has 4 small wires coming out of it. The one that you're going to want to use for your low voltage relay is the ground wire, which is the black with the white stripe. Not the solid black. We're today focusing on the black with the white stripe on it. You would take that black wire with the white strip down the side and connect it to the normally open port on the back of your BMV 712. That is marked NO. Then you would take a separate wire coming from your power source at your battery bank and connect it with a 1 amp fuse in between to the COM port on the back of the BMV 712. That will then allow the batteries to connect to the COM port. When they send a low voltage signal using the built-in program of the BMV 712, you can program that through Bluetooth. It will then trigger that normally open relay to close, which will then power on the auto start to then charge your batteries if you have an alternator charger hooked up to your system. And that's a quick, easy, efficient way to have a low voltage relay from your electrical system through the BMV 712 to trigger the auto start system. Now that I've shown you how you can use the low voltage relay off of the BMV 712, we also have a brand new product from Victron, the Serbo GX with the color control touchscreen, which is very beautiful, might I add. If we want to use this to do the low voltage relay or a temperature relay or any sort of relay, because the Serbo GX has so much capability, you can use it using the Relay 1 or the Relay 2 connections on the Serbo GX, and that is what you would use, still the same, normally open, and the COM ports that we used on the BMV 712, but the Serbo GX will allow you to have way more functionality for starting that auto start. Again, I can't stress this enough, the BMV 712 is an easy way to do the relay, but I always recommend the Serbo GX and the color control touch panel from Victron if you want to use the relay system in your van. Now that I've showed you how you would connect a low voltage relay to trigger the auto start, now we're going to install the drone that was also included in your package. This will allow you to control this auto start system from anywhere in the world using your smartphone and the drone mobile app. So open your box, follow all the instructions to set it up first, and then jump straight into these steps. You're going to attach the gray connector to the side of the drone, just like that, and then I'll show you what's next. Inside the vehicle, on the smart key starter, on the same unit that we plugged in that key starter box to, we're going to plug in the other end of that gray connection to the port labeled drone. Pretty self-explanatory. So the gray connection into the port labeled drone. Go ahead, plug that in, which will provide power to the unit, and this will then be running. At this point, you can test your drone system using the smartphone app that you just set up when you open the box. Now that we've plugged in that drone, it's time to test it. So open the app that you would have downloaded during the instructions included in the box. Go ahead and go to Controls, and we're going to close the door. Hold down that start button to test the drone. Vehicle should flash. Just like that, the drone works from anywhere in the world using your smartphone. Before we go any further, let's go ahead and shut it off by holding down that power button again. Just like that, the vehicle will turn off, and now we're ready to wrap all this up. So once we have our T-harness auto start module installed, the key box and the drone, and then any additional relays that you want to run, it's time to put it all back together. I always recommend using zip ties, and we're going to zip tie it to some of the existing connections way up here. I'll show you right now. I always recommend connecting to the existing wires up here. It's really easy to zip tie to. So we're going to connect all of those boxes using zip ties to this wire harness right here. Now you can see we've got the drone zip tied over here, the auto start T-harness hooked in here, and I attached that key box to the front of the other part of the T-harness right here. We've got the wires nice and secured right here, and everything's clear of this steering wheel shaft right here. Nothing's going to get in the way of anything else. And just like that, now it's time to put all this back together. So we'll start by going in reverse, putting back on this large plastic piece. So first we'll start by putting the OBD back in, sliding it right through the slot again. Just like that. And then we're going to click that back in and then screw it back in. We'll screw back in the 2 screws for the OBD connector using the T15 or the Torx 15 driver. Like that. Same thing on the other side. Now the OBD under the dash is connected. Now that we've got the OBD connected, we'll lift this and slide that first connector under there, which will then allow us to slide the rest of this back. Once we have this first section through, we're going to go ahead and slide through our door release handle. And all of this can be a bit of a tight fit trying to put it back on, just like that. So now that we've got that through, we'll slide the rest of this down. So we'll slide this, make sure that our T25 hole lines up right down here. We'll go ahead and screw that back in. Take our T25, screw it back in on this bottom connection. Make sure it lines up. Fits snugly right in there. While we have our T25 out, we'll go ahead and connect the T25 on the door release handle. Take your T25 screw, make sure the handle lines up with the hole, and go ahead and screw it back in. Next, we're going to reconnect the 1, 2, 3 black pins that we took out. We'll start with the one back here. Should look like this. We'll go ahead, make sure it lines up, and slide that in, and then push in the small black inner circle to lock it in place. Getting these things correct. If necessary, you can take out that initial circle, the inner circle, to help you fit the other clip in. Once you have that black one in, you can take the small inner circle and insert that to lock it into place. Just like that. Easy peasy, right? You might struggle a bit like me. At this point, you'd go grab some water, cool off a bit, come back in a second and try again. Now that we've got those bottom two black pins connected, we'll do this last one, which is up here to the left of the driver's dash. We'll get this last black pin, slide it in right here, push in that center circle, make sure it's all nice and snug, and we're good to go. We're going to grab this faceplate again, And we're gonna slide it right back on here. When it's in the correct location, it should just snap right into place. And we'll cover over the existing bottom one that we just installed. Once we have both of these plastic pieces firmly in place, we're gonna go ahead and reinstall the weather stripping by lining up that center row on this weather stripping with the metal edge of the van. Make sure it's pushed in nice and neat. Now that this is all put together, looking nice and neat, we're gonna go ahead and cover up all of these chip crumbs by putting back down that floor mat. After you've given the floor mat a good wipe down and gotten rid of any evidence of Jonathan's junk food habits, we're gonna go ahead and slide this right in, back into place. Make sure everything fits nice and snug, nice and secure. Everything looks really good. The final piece we've all been waiting for on the reassembly is this. This slides just like this, right back into its original home, and we're gonna screw in with 2 T15 screws. Slide those right in, and then tighten them down with your T15 driver. Make sure they're nice and snug. And just like that, the product's installed, and your van now has the capability to remote start using your OEM key fob. You can start it from anywhere in the world using that drone mobile component that we installed. And you also have the ability to use those relays that I showed you using the BMV 712 or preferably the Servo GX with the color control touchscreen to control the relay and start your vehicle based on a temperature or a low voltage relay. That's it for today's easy install, guys. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you like this and other Sprinter related content or van life content, make sure you smash that like button, hit that subscribe button, stay tuned for more content. We got more videos coming your way, we got more product reviews, we have more product installs, and we have more fun stuff that we got showing around the shop. So make sure you stay tuned in. I'm Elliot with Nomadic Cooling, that's TJ behind the camera, and we'll see you guys next time. Thanks so much.